Hey, everybody, welcome back. My name is Beth Rowles. I'm the author of The Authentic Wife and Love Him Again. And I'm a marriage coach for driven moms who want to create the relationship that they want without leaving the one they're in. Today, we're going to talk about how the brain screws up our relationships. What does it have to do with anything? And actually has a lot to do. And the reason why we talk about mindfulness and meditation is because we have got to get control of our brain or it will screw up our lives because our brain is actually creating our reality. So let's explain. So there is so much data available to us at every moment. Everything's energy. There's all this data out there. We hear people's thoughts and prayers and we feel their emotions, and the leaves are talking to the trees and the roots and the animals are talking, and there's actual, wireless data and videos and computers and bits and bits, um, bytes on top of bytes of information available to us at any moment. Um, it's all energy. It's all out there. If we could hear it all, we would go insane. We would just absolutely be insane. In fact, I believe that schizophrenic people hear a lot more than we do. And that's why they're so frustrated because they're like, when will it stop? I hear so much. They are split. They are up. My theory is that sorry for the tangent. We're just going to go there. My theory is that their spirit is partially out of their bodies, and they have access to more information than the rest of us because they are not in this filter of the brain. That's my theory. I've actually read it in a book called The Spiritual Power of Empathy by Cindy Dale too. And it makes a lot of sense to me, especially as someone who has a relative with schizophrenia. It makes a lot of sense. Something causes a split, trauma, and then they hear all the things. So that said, we are all empaths. We all can pick up more than what seems to be available to us. We all have at least one clair, as they're called. And some of us have all of the clairs. And those are people that we think of as like super intuitive or maybe even psychic. So let's talk about that for a minute. We're all gifted in different ways here. We all have these different empath skills and senses and can pick up on more than what we normally can detect. So our clairs are clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience is clear hearing, clairsentience is clear feeling. Doctors can often be clear feeling because they can pick up on pain in different areas and just kind of know how to help somebody. I think it's clear aliens, clear smelling, although I feel like I read that as something else before, but I just grabbed this real quick. Clear gustance, which is clear tasting, and clear cognizance, which is clear knowing, where like you do really well in school and you just kind of know, like you don't have to really work to study a subject because you just pick it up really quickly. That's clear cognizance. So we all have these. They're not some woo-woo thing. You have these abilities, at least one of them. You are more sensitive to information in at least one area than the rest of us are. And so the reason why we have different abilities here is because our brains act as filters. Um, so Georgetown University professor and scientist Carl Pribram, I think, found that the brain contains a certain envelope mechanism, which only gives us what we need on a daily basis. So it basically sifts through all these bits of information and gives us a drastically condensed version of the world. It gives us just what it thinks that we need to know. We get a version of reality that our brains literally concoct. Just like sit with that for a minute. Like there is a more massive than we can comprehend reality available to you at this moment, and you're only getting a tiny, tiny bit of it because that's all that your brain thinks you can handle. Our brains process 400 billion bits of information a second, and we can only consciously process about 2,000 bits. So we're missing most of what's happening around us. And this is why empathy, as we know it as the ability to take another person's perspective, which is a step number 5 in my quantum love journey framework, is really hard to us because we can be like super overwhelmed by our own perspective and not have the mindful ability to control our brain to go consider their perspective because their reality is different from ours. It's just the way it is. They have a whole different filter than we do. So they see something completely differently than we see it. And it's very hard to interact with another human if we can only have time and consideration and the capability to look through our filter. We have to try to be in their shoes with empathy, but it's super hard till you get control of your brain. Let me see if there's anything that I missed. Your brain selects where your attention will go based on what it believes is important. You are seeing what you choose to see, what you're capable of seeing, and what you're manifesting before you. Your brain is shaping your reality, then telling you it's the only reality out there. Everything coming at us is filtered through our brains first. So, in her book, Quantum Love, the beautiful Dr. Laura Berman says, in order to manage the volume of stimuli it has to process, the brain develops patterns, biases, and generalizations that lump the information together in a way that is manageable. Sometimes it will distort the information to make it fit, and other times it will delete the information entirely. So the next time you are feeling low, negative, or depleting emotions, I want you to ask yourself if what you are believing about your situation is even really real. How has it been filtered? I just said the other day that often we romanticize divorce as escaping the dysfunction of a relationship, when the real dysfunction is the filter through which we view the relationship. We are creating what we're experiencing. We are creating the version of reality that our brain thinks we want to have. You have so much more control over your life than you can even imagine. I'd love to talk to you more about this. If you are in an unhappy marriage and don't want to traumatize your children by leaving it, please get in touch with me because I would absolutely love to work with you. Be sure to subscribe, follow, like, share, and help somebody who may need to hear this today. Bye.